Good afternoon, Wendy.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for coming in today. My name is Michael, and I'm a social worker here at this office. And first of all, I'd like to say thanks for coming in. A lot of people, when they come here, they think there's a stigma with coming in here, and it's really laudable that you can come in and speak with one of our counselors. Me, it's kind of a privilege to speak with you. But before we get started, I want to tell you about this confidentiality statement. Everything that we talk about in here is going to be confidential, so you don't have to worry about me divulging any of the information that you provide here. But there are some exceptions, and some of the exceptions are if you're going to cause harm to yourself or others, the elderly or children, and this is a state mandate, which means that, like I said, it's against the law for me to say anything unless there's someone going to be harmed. It would take a judge in a court of law to have me release this information, and that is really not that common. So I just want you to feel comfortable, and I want you to be okay with me if I do anything that is that makes you uncomfortable. Just let me know, and if you don't feel comfortable talking with me at any time, you can stop. There's no pressure at all. Are you okay with talking with me?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. And what we like to do also is if you would feel more comfortable with a female counselor, we can accommodate. Or we try to. But you're okay with talking with me?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, so why don't we start by you just telling me a little bit about what you're going through?
My husband died recently. He was killed in an automobile accident about a year ago, and I don't know how to deal with it.
Oh wow, must be tough. It must be tough dealing with that. Can you? How long were you married?
We were married for 25 years. He was a soldier in Desert Storm, and he came back and was injured. He had PTSD, and he had a brain injury, so I had to take care of him for the last 25 years.
Oh, it must be tough.
Yeah, it's just him and I.
So tell me a little bit more about your relationship.
Well, for starters, we were high school sweethearts, and we were married before he went in. And then when he got back, he wasn't the same person. So I was basically his caregiver for 25 years, and that's all I knew was to take care of him. He wasn't the same guy that I married. He had night terrors and would scream out in the middle of the night, and just wasn't the same.
Wow. Well, is there any children of the marriage?
No, we don't have any children. But it's kind of good that we didn't have any children, because he was really, being his sole caregiver was really hard. And it was hard getting treatment for him, because all they wanted to do is give him medicine and not really help the actual issue.
Wow, that must be tough. I mean, it's always tough with veterans coming back, but it's got to really hit home more so when it's a loved one like that.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult.
So, tell me more about that. Tell me more about when you first came home from the deployment.
When he first came home, it was just not the same person. He wasn't the same. He wasn't acting right. He wasn't. He was just acting completely different. He would wake up in the middle of the night. I don't know. He wouldn't talk about what was going on, but I know he was going through some things. He would just scream out. I don't know. I tried to get him help, but no one would really help him.
It seems like that your relationship with your husband was very important to you.
It was very important. I loved him very much. I had to take care of him. That's what I vowed to do when we got married, and I know he loved me. But that was my job. That's what I had to do, was to make sure that he was okay.
And so it seems like you were pretty good at that.
I try to be.
Yeah, it's um, oftentimes whenever we, are with loved ones, we kind of go above and beyond. It seems like that you really had a relationship to where you would do just about anything for them. I mean, it takes a pretty strong person to endure that, and the fact that you did it for so long. I mean, that is something. That's really amazing. Um, did you? Do you have anyone else that you talk to about?
I have some friends and family, but I don't really go out anywhere because my whole life surrounded him, taking care of him, and I had to um, make sure that he was taken care of. And then eventually, they stopped asking me to go places because I would always have to say no. And so he's been dead a year now, and I've pretty much been by myself for a year.
So it seems it's sometimes when people when you suffer a loss like that, withdrawal is not really an uncommon thing. Um, so when the people, your friends or whoever would be trying to call you, like, what are some things that you would do to um, avoid seeing them?
Well, I would tell them no, I couldn't go, and then because I've been so alone for so long, I picked up smoking because that's my way of dealing with everything. And I know that it's a bad habit, but it makes me feel better.
Like I was saying, that the fact that I mean, you had mentioned in your questionnaire that you and your husband both smoked and you quit together.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a thing, a strength that you have. I mean, you've had the willpower to quit before. What are like being around your friends? They don't like to smoke, or they don't like you smoking?
They don't know that I smoke. I'm hiding it from everybody. 'Cause I know it's a bad habit. I know it's not good for me. And none of my friends and family smoke. So it's kind of my big secret.
Oh wow, it's really that. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of people that hide their smoking. I mean, it seems like you're, and like I was saying before, it seems like you're a pretty strong person that you were able to give up such a habit, and you're aware of the hazards inherent in smoking and that.
I'm fully aware. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, it seems like you know where you need to be, and so I'm not really going to focus too much on that, because if you were to focus on all of my little inconsistencies and that, you would probably, I mean, everyone's human, so I'm not gonna beat you up over that, but but I would like to focus on the relationships that you have, or that you don't have anymore, as a result of that. And I also want to focus on the stress that you're going through, the anxieties that you're going through, just because you're having to do things now that you never had to do. Because tell me about some of the things that you have to do now that your husband's passed that you didn't have to do before.
Well, when he left, I had to do everything by myself, which means go to the grocery store, pay bills by myself, spend holidays alone, birthdays alone. Christmas is a big deal for me, and I had to spend that alone. That's pretty hard.
Oh, wow.
Especially being with family on Christmas and everybody has their significant other except for me.
Holidays can be tough. What are some of the holidays that are tougher on
you? Valentine's Day, anniversaries, Christmas, and his anniversary of his death is a big one for me.
Yeah, that's a tough time. So during these times when you're depressed, how does it, like, what exactly are you feeling?
I was really stressed out and anxious taking care of him. And then when he died, I was still anxious and stressed, but I feel a little bit of relief now that he's gone, and I feel guilty for that.
Right. Yeah, I was just unlocking this. I wasn't. Anyway. Well, bereavement is it causes a lot of stress. It causes a lot of stress for friends and family, and and it's very understandable that you have a hard time during that. Okay. But anyway, what is there anything else that you'd like to share?
Not really. I just feel like I don't know who I am, and I don't know what to do about it. I feel lost and alone.
So, is there anybody that you can talk to?
That's why I came to you. I mean, I have family and a few friends, but I mean, I never really had a career. I never had a job except for when I was, really, really young. And I never really had a formal education because after he came back injured, I had to stop and take care of him.
Wow, that seems like a real tough situation. I know I've said that a gazillion times, but so these friends that you avoid now, what if you were to talk to them again? What is the worst thing that can happen?
I mean, the worst thing is they could shut me out, I guess.
What else?
I mean, I don't know.
A lot of times we get caught up in what other people are going to think about you, or what other, the worst case scenario that can happen, and that's probably the most misused term ever. The worst case scenario. Worst case scenario. But I would recommend, I really would recommend reaching out and talking to friends, and that'll help you with a lot of the, it'll help you with loneliness, getting out and doing certain things. I mean, I don't think that would be such a bad thing. Friends and family, they tend to put up with a lot more than you think, and I know that this is a tough situation. I really, like I said before at the beginning, I really think it's a good thing that you came in and asked for help, and that's an immense strength that a lot of people don't possess. And by you coming in, you've kind of made the first step. So, like I said, I really think that you should probably reach out and maybe accept one of those invitations, that are that far that are that far out there. The ones that, how they stopped calling because accept one of those invitations, and you never know, something positive can happen. What do you think about that?
I could do that.
Well, what I want to do, and this is I would like to meet with you again if that's okay.
Yeah.
And what I want to do is I want to do a therapy with you. It's called interpersonal psychotherapy, and it's several sessions, and it's a maintenance session, and we're going to focus it on your personal relationships, because what I do believe is that you are having you have an unresolved grief. I mean, obviously, these holidays and the anniversary of your husband's death can be very traumatic to the strongest person. So I don't want those to go unnoticed. I want to come in, and we'll focus on some of some of your grief from that, and it'll that'll help out. One more question I have, like. So you have this grief, right? And anxiety. Is there anything that adds to? I mean, is there anything that makes the anxiety worse?
Well, stress makes it worse. Anything like I just having to think about everything that's happened in the holidays make it worse, and just trying to live a normal life makes it worse. I just want to be alone all the time.
That is a. You want to talk about normal life? That is kind of a normal life. It's not very uncommon for someone to go through this and withdraw. It's not, or to to feel guilt or anything like it was your fault, or it's just not at all. It's not. But anyway, back to what I was saying about interpersonal psychotherapy. It's a maintenance, and we're going to focus on some of your grief. We're also going to focus on building your relationships, and what I hope to accomplish there is to allow you to be okay with this role, this change in role. I mean, for how many years?
25.
For 25 years, you're this caregiver. And now you have to go and you have to work something other than just a temporary job, or just a job just to make ends meet. And now you have to be the person in charge, making all the calls with no help. Okay, first of all, you've made it to this office. You made it this far, so I think that you're doing really, really well, showing a lot of strong traits, and I think that if we meet a couple of times, that you'll start to feel better, and we'll start to work on those relationships that you've been lacking and avoiding. So what I want to do now before you leave is I'm going to have you go by the front desk and make another appointment. Whatever works for you, and we'll schedule. Does meeting every week work for you? Every other week?
Every week's fine.
Okay, so and Wednesdays are good.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll work on that. We'll schedule next Wednesday, and we'll see how it works. And what I want you to do is I want you, while we're sitting here, I want you to just think, just relax and think of like 3 relationships that you can work on rekindling. And we're not going to act on it right now, but I just want you to just think of 3 relationships, 3 people that have called you and you didn't respond to them, you didn't answer a text, you didn't answer the phone, you didn't call them back. Think of those 3 people and what you would do, what you could do to call them back, or what do you need to do internally? What's stopping you from calling them back? And then we'll go over next week, and I want you to just think about it here, and then while you're at home this week, I want you to just write it down, for each person, and you don't have to use their real name, doesn't matter. And I want you to write down their name and just how you could rekindle that relationship. And then what we'll do is we will meet next Wednesday around the same time, however they schedule you, and we'll talk about those relationships and how we can start to reach out to those people and seek support.
Okay, sounds good.
What do you think about that?
I have a few people in mind.
That's good. Because in this, this therapy is this IPT. It's really based upon the relationships that you have or you don't have with others. Okay, and and a lot of the issues that I'm seeing, that I'm hearing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is relationships that are, that are, that are based upon things that you're missing, like the relationship with your husband, your late husband, and the relationship with the family and the friends that you had prior to. What kind of support did they? These are just rhetorical questions. What kind of support did they give you that you're lacking? That they used to give you when your husband was alive, that you're lacking now. You have any questions for me?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you for coming,
Thanks.
and I'll see you next week.
Okay.
All right.
See you
Have a
then.
good day.